Sophia giggled at her brother Robbie's facial contortions while the family van sped along the highway from the city, heading to her most favorite place in the world, Grandpa's cabin on Minnow Lake. As she licked the ice cream Papa had bought for her and her siblings, she stared out the window at the many pine trees flying by in a blur. Suddenly, a hand pushed her hand and ice cream covered her nose and mouth. Her round face and large smile with ice cream at both corners of her mouth made a great target for Robbie's antics. Sophia screamed at him to stop his attack on her, but Robbie pretended not to know anything about it. He was slightly built with brown hair and a handsome face. He loved teasing his sisters. He also loved sports and played hard at them. However, when it came to fishing, he fancied himself second only to his grandfather in skill and knowledge. He was sure he would catch the biggest fish this trip. The trip up north seemed to take forever. Sophia was so anxious to get there, she was beside herself. Fewer and fewer signs of people and buildings meant they were nearing their destination. "When will we be there, Mom?" Or, "Are we almost there?" she yelled from the back seat as her dog Nikki slept soundly on her lap. She loved all animals, but Nikki was her number 0 neigh. The love between the two of them seemed to give all those around her a case of the warm fuzzies. He was a brown toy poodle, almost as smart as any child, and they were practically inseparable. Besides, her sister Rachel, who was the oldest of the trio at 12, loved the dog because it kept Sophia busy and out of her hair. Rachel's blonde hair was blowing around her freckled face as the breeze entered through the window she had lowered. She too was anxious to get to the lake. Sophia had an enormous personality for such a small person. She was a born leader, and at the age of 7 she entertained all those around her with breakneck speed and an in-charge attitude with which she lived her life. Maybe the youngest of 3 siblings needed that determination to keep up and to be recognized by the rest. But she was seen outside of her family as special too. When her mother asked her kindergarten teacher how Sophia was adapting to school, Mrs. Farnsworth replied, "We are still trying to decide who is in charge, her or me." Mom laughed inside but tried to keep a serious face so they could address any problem together. It was a warm summer day with fluffy white clouds rolling across the bright blue sky as the van pulled into the cabin driveway. The tall pines made the air smell wonderfully clean and crisp. Sophia tried to climb over Robbie as she struggled to exit the vehicle. She claimed it was an accident when her ice cream dropped from her cone and landed on her brother's head. But Robbie protested loudly, "Dad, Sophia is stepping on me and put ice cream on my head." But she continued out the door, not waiting for anyone. She was heard saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, but that should teach you a lesson. Oh, Mom, can we go fishing now?" "When Grandpa is ready to take us, dear," she replied. "We have to get unpacked and settled in first. Then we should have some lunch." "All right, but we'll dig for some worms." "Okay, Mom," she yelled as she raced to find a shovel. "Of course, but don't dig holes in Grandpa's yard like you did the last time. Go across the road to the worm bed. I will call you for lunch." Grandpa Will was waiting at the door as Papa entered with his large blue cooler full of meats for the grill and salad ingredients that Mom would use to make into a mouth-watering Greek salad. "Where are my little people?" as Grandpa liked to call his grandkids. "Digging for worms, of course. Keeps them busy," exclaimed Papa. Grandma Anna was sitting on the sun porch staring at the rippling blue lake. "Your timing was right, that's for sure. It's been raining off and on for several days now. Fishing should be good." The smell of the knotty pine that permeated the cabin immediately brought a flood of childhood memories to Mama Jules as she unpacked and put away the groceries. Those were wonderful years, she thought. After about an hour, the children had filled a tin can with soft black earth and many worms. "Wow, look at what I've got," yelled Rachel. She stretched her left hand in the air to reveal a 6-inch nightcrawler that was contorting itself like a gymnast to wriggle free from her grip. "Grandpa says you can catch about 5 or 10 sunfish from one big nightcrawler. I can't wait to get on the pontoon boat," she cried out. Just then she heard some noise and saw some movement in the tall green weeds nearby. She jumped up, startled, and started to back away. "What was that?" she yelled. Rob's eyes widened as he also saw something moving through the brush. "Oh my gosh, whatever it is, it's big!" All three jumped up and ran across the road to the cabin as fast as they could, followed by Nikki. They all fought to get through the door at the same time, causing each to push and shove their way into the kitchen where the four grown-ups were drinking lemonade. Hey, behave yourselves!" yelled Papa. "What's the matter with you three?" "There is something big in the weeds by the worm bed," exclaimed Robbie, all out of breath. "I can't imagine what that could be," said Grandpa. "Did you find any worms?" he asked. "Yes, we did," said Sophia. "I'm not afraid. I'll go and get the can of worms." She dashed out the door and ran across the road to retrieve the worm can. But after searching all around the area, she couldn't see any sign of the tin can full of treasure. "What are we going to do now?" she thought. No worms, no fish. She came through the cabin door almost in tears. "I'm sorry, Grandpa, but our worms have disappeared. How can we go fishing now?" Grandpa walked over and patted her on the head. "Don't worry, my little one. Grandpa keeps spare worms in the fish house fridge for just such emergencies. Let's just worry about having one of those juicy hot dogs your daddy has cooking on the grill and some potato salad." Sophia could smell the smoke from the grill, and suddenly her stomach was growling for food. All three children had their fill of what seemed the best hot dogs, salad, and cold lemonade they had ever eaten. Who knew digging for worms could give kids such an appetite? "Can we go fishing now?" asked Rachel. "Well, actually, the fish don't bite until after about 5 o'clock when they come in to feed. Why doesn't everyone take a little rest, and then it will be about time to go out?" "But I'm not tired, Grandpa," Sophia exhorted. "Okay, then you just lay on the couch and close your eyes for a few minutes. Then you can get up and watch TV in the sitting room, okay?" Sophia looked at Grandpa suspiciously because she knew Grandpa could be a little tricky on occasion. But she was feeling a little groggy, so she went to the couch, laid down and closed her eyes, determined to wait for the cabin to be quiet so she could sneak outside with Nikki and find those worms. Suddenly she bolted up off the couch and looked at the clock. It was 4:30 already. "Grandpa fooled me again," she thought. She moved over to sit in the rocker by the window on the screen porch. She closed her eyes and could feel the soft lake breeze on her cheeks. The buzzing bees on the flowers and birds chirping merrily from their perches on Grandma's feeders seemed to send her to a new plane of tranquility. She rocked gently back and forth, repeating to herself, "Please, God, let me remember this moment forever. Mama tells me this is what I'll remember most when I am old." They had always caught lots of fish because Grandpa had been fishing these lakes for almost 30 years. He knew when and where those sneaky fish were, Sophia thought. Maybe that's why he catches all those fish, because he's sneakier than the fish. He probably reads their minds. Everyone had to have a life jacket. It was the law for fishing on the pontoon. Fishing poles and cold night crawlers from the fridge were ready. Off they went through the channel to the deep lake. Mom pointed out the eagle's nest on the highest pine tree. They could see the eagle riding the breezes as it stared down at the deep blue water to find its prey. It was late August, and the fish had moved from Grandpa's lake to the deep lake for the winter. Sophia and Robbie took turns helping Grandpa steer the boat. With the wind in their faces and water spraying up from the boat wake, it was so fun. They both felt grown up when the boat turned the direction they wanted it to. The pontoon needed 2 anchors to hold it steady. Papa dropped the front one, and Grandpa the rear one. Grandpa's was easier because of the electric wench that was attached to. Everyone was assigned a pole, and each dropped a line with a hook, sinker, and worm on the end into the clear, blue, deep water. Grandpa didn't fish. He just baited hooks, untangled lines, and pulled the squiggly, slippery fish off the lines. With a tug on the line, Mom landed the first fish. Robbie then pulled up the largest sunfish, and everyone was having a great time. All was well until Robbie started yelling with frightened glee. He had a large flopping pike on his line. He was startled because he was pulling in a sunfish, and the northern pike leaped for it and hung on until Robbie tried to land it on the boat, but it flipped back into the water. Needless to say, Robbie was very disappointed that he came so close to his dream fish. Oh no, he cried. It was so close. Everyone, including Sophia, caught plenty of fish, and everyone was getting tired and hungry. Even so, Sophia didn't want to give up until the last worm was gone. Then back to the cabin they sped. After a delicious deep-fried fish fillet dinner with salad and potatoes, everyone settled into the sitting room for a movie. The fresh lake air had taken its toll, though, and one by one they all headed off to bed. Sophia and Rachel woke early the next morning, and all either one could think or talk about was what kind of animal could possibly have wanted those worms. They didn't think animals ate worms, so it was a great mystery to them. Grandma Anna fixed some oatmeal, fruit, and toast with homemade blueberry jam. It was so good. I have never seen these children eat so much. Fresh air and tasty food seems to agree with them, Mama said. Papa agreed. I guess it was maybe too good. I have eaten 3 bowls of oatmeal and 6 pieces of toast. Mom! Sophia cried out. We're going to collect more worms. This time we aren't going to lose them. So off they went, letting the door slam behind them, heading across the road, with shovels in hand. The 3 of them once more filled up the worm can as Nicky sat guard, periodically barking and ready to growl and pounce on any wild creature that might threaten his family members. He imagined himself big and brave like a German Shepherd police dog. He was the little dog that could, so a beware of dog sign would suit him just fine. Now Robbie had been thinking up a plan to clear up the mystery. Rach, he exclaimed, I've got an idea. What is it, Robbie? She asked. Sophia, too, was all ears. Let's leave half the worms in the can and we will hide behind Grandpa's shed over there. He has binoculars and we can see the worm bed. Maybe the worm thief will show up and then the mystery will be solved. That's a super idea, said Rachel. Why didn't I think of that? I usually do come up with the ideas in the family. Oh, right, chortled Robbie, but they're usually dumb ideas. They are not, shot back Rachel. Sophia spoke up in Rachel's defense. Robbie, Rachel has some great ideas. Well, at least sometimes. Your ideas aren't always so great either. Grandpa says if you don't at least try, you will never succeed at anything. Hey, let's quit arguing and get busy. I want to catch that thief, yelled Robbie. So they placed the worm can in the open so they could watch from behind the shed. It was over an hour before they heard some noise in the tall weeds behind the worm bed. Quietly, they all watched. Then all of a sudden, there was a monster head peering out from the weeds. They all looked at each other in astonishment. All 3 children let out screams at the same time and ran as fast as they could to the cabin. Again, they were all pushing and shoving to get through the door at the same time. What's all the racket, guys? Asked Grandpa. All 3 were yelling at the same time with their eyes wide open. Slow down, kids, one at a time, he said. By now, Grandma, Dad, and Mom were all in the kitchen afraid there had been an accident or some such disaster. After Robbie explained the news about the worm-eating monster, he questioned each of them to get a good description of the culprit. With his hand rubbing the stubble of beard on his chin and his eyes looking upward, he exclaimed in a Sherlock Holmes-type manner, I believe we can solve this mystery. Come, little ones, let's go over by the shed. All 3 trooped uneasily behind him. They stayed some distance back while he looked through his binoculars toward the worm bed. They stood motionless for another 20 minutes or so. Suddenly, Grandpa stretched his right hand back toward the children and motioned for them to come up by him. Look and see if that's your monster, he ordered. Yes, they all chimed in. Well, some years ago, our Department of Natural Resources decided to plant some wild turkeys in our state. And what do you think happened? They are thriving up here and eating very well. Even if he didn't eat the worms, his curiosity probably lead him to overturn the can, and the worms would quickly scatter into the earth again. We have a hunting season here, but nobody near here hunts. Maybe he is a monster of sorts, but harmless. They grow very large because most people around here don't shoot them. Hurrah, Grandpa! They all sang in unison. With that, the children were no longer afraid and were anxious to go fishing again. Mystery solved. Another grand adventure at Grandpa's cabin. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our original story. Author Lee Olson. Narration by Bella. Follow us and subscribe for more children's stories to come.